Boom, we're live.
We are live.
We are live. Hey, Shawn, what's up, man? How are you today?
I am doing good. Well,
Yeah, I know.
we had a
I
little
just
talk
heard.
prior to this, so yeah, it was a rough day today. So,
All right. Well,
um,
welcome everybody to the show tonight. I have a special guest and one of my favorites on here, Shawn. We're missing Dawn tonight, but I'm sure she's busy. Uh, and I wanted to get Shawn on here because we have a couple things to discuss, a few things that I want to get through, and I wanted Shawn to be here to sort of explain because not a lot of people think that it's important, Shawn, to continue running scrapes after the hunting season. So I wanted to bring you on here so you can sort of you're the expert, you're the professional at it. I run it too myself. But what is the importance, and let the people know the importance of the mock scrapes after the season, because why, Shawn? We're not hunting anymore. Why do we want to attract bucks to our spots? We're not going to be out there. Why are we doing it? So go ahead and explain to them. I'm going to give you the wheel, and you can explain to the people why you run it and what the importance is of it, and why you do it. So go ahead and take it away, Shawn.
yeah, the main reason I want to see who survived the season. And every buck that you had visiting that, if you had them visiting in the summer, I run my mocks all year round. So a lot of these bucks, actually, I'll have them visit all year round. They might pop in, infrequently, during kind of the off season, but they're gonna show up, and they might only show up once a month, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, but they're gonna show up.
Yep.
But as far as the main reason is, I want to see in that, and that's what's nice. Your January, February mocks, and even into March, you're going to do pretty decent on them. You've seen, I know, Ted, you've probably been watching the page a little bit. You've been seeing what I've been posting. I've been getting visits every day. Sometimes it's just doe. But honestly, the last 3 days, things kind of jumped up for whatever reason. I started picking up some of my shed bucks, and
well, you got Norm. You got Norm now,
I
huh?
did. Dawn found
he
it.
knocked, he knocked on your door and gave you
Oh my
a little
God,
gift.
this is crazy. So yeah, Dawn and I, we actually jumped in the truck. We got sitting here in the house, and she's like, "Hey, you want to go shed hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can go up on the other urban property that I've got. Let's go walk that." She's like, "All right, let's do it." So we drive up there, and it's literally just around the corner. And I live in a 40-acre block, so we were up in the northwest corner of that block. So we just drove around the block basically, and we walked in there and we covered that whole area real good. Didn't find a single shed. And we come back to the house and pulled in the driveway. And just before we got to the driveway, I says to Dawn, I'm like, "Hey, have we checked the mail lately?" She goes, "I don't think so, but maybe." And I'm like, "Yeah." So she's like, "Yeah, pull up, just pull in and jump out and check it." So we pull in the drive, and I stop right there at the end of it and jump out, and I go walking over to the mailbox, and about the time I'm opening the mailbox, I hear Dawn squawking and squeaking and making all kinds of noise. I'm like, "What in the heck is going on?" So I grab the mail and I come back over to the truck, and I open my door, and she's not in the truck. And I've got a lifted truck, so shit, I'm a short guy anyway, so I couldn't see nothing on the other side of my truck. And so I walk around the front end of my truck, and here she is, kind of jogging, coming back towards the truck, holding on to Norm's best side.
Nice.
I'm like, what is it? She goes, "I just found this laying right in the yard." And I'm like, "No, you did not." She goes, "Where else would I got it from?" Seriously, I looked over while you jumped out. I turned over and looked, and I seen it. She goes, "I wasn't quite sure what it was, and if it was an antler for sure, but I thought it was." And I kind of looked a little closer, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that is." So I opened the door and I jumped out, and I took a couple steps, and I was like, "Ah, ah." And I was like, "Yeah, that's when I heard all the squawking and squeaking going on over there." So yeah, Don found that, and it ended up being my number one buck in my block. And I passed him this year because I want to give him another year. And found his best side. He's got he tried to be a 7-point on that side. He's only get 6 out of him because that other one doesn't quite count.
What do you think what's that rack? What's that side score?
He was 71 2/8, just the raw rack with no spread figured in. So even if you figure he had a 14, we'll go really narrow because he wasn't very wide. He's just good and tall. So we give him a 14-inch spread. I kind of looked at it and measured it too, and I'm like, yep, 7's about would be the center of his forehead, pretty dang close. So we give him 14. So you could add another 7 on that, get half that spread right there. So that puts him up to what? 78 and 2/8. And then but he's smaller on that other side. He only had 4 on that other side, and he wasn't quite as tall on everything. I'm figuring you're probably going to get about 65 inches out of that other side.
Okay.
Plus
So
add in a 14-inch spread. That put him with every. I said, I was hoping me and several buddies talk. I'm like, I think he's right there, like 150, like maybe 148, 149. And that's about where he's probably, I was pretty dang close. Okay. He might hit 151, 152, but he's right there.
Keeps eating that Fat Rats mineral, he'll gain them inches this year.
So yep, he's been hammering and I've had him in now too. I've been getting videos of him here. He's been coming into Jinxie. You can see the big old spots on his head, and he's a pretty good sized deer. So it's like, yep, there's Norm. You can recognize him without them antlers even on his head. So
very cool. That was a cool story. I wanted to get that story, but guys, we're talking tonight, so stick around. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will put them up here for Shawn or myself to answer. I'm going to give Shawn first crack at answering the questions, though, and then after that, I'm going to give you my 2 cents as well. But that was a cool story of Norm, because I've seen you passed him up this year a few times. You have a lot of postings of him, seeing him a lot, so I'm really hoping to see him next year and see what happens to him and see how he gets big.
You just gotta watch. You just gotta watch out for cars. Honestly,
yeah.
We lost. We had a buck we called Gimpy there. His back foot was all messed up. You might remember me posting him too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he disappeared like late October, and I thought, okay, he's probably just running. He ain't been back. Okay. So that's the last we seen him. Figure he probably got hit by a car. We had a 6-point got hit down the street just here, 4 houses down. So yeah, that's kind of their number one. So right here, to give you kind of an idea with Cedar Rapids on our urban hunt, there's only like 90, maybe 100 hunters, more around 90 probably. Only 13 of them got buck tags last year out of all of them. So that's only 13 bucks they're killing citywide through hunting. And I didn't fill my urban buck tag this year. So that knocks it down to 12 is the most they could have killed out of here this year, out of the whole city. And we're a big city, 150 population, 150,000. So the biggest thing though, we lose more of those big bucks to cars in the city than hunters, probably by tenfold. Really? So that's all he needs to do. So I'm kind of hoping, as old as he is already, we figure he's 3.5. He'll be 4.5 this fall. We're figuring maybe he's smartened up and he knows those cars. He knows what they're all about and kind of avoids them. But then again, when the rut kicks in, he'll chase a doe across the street and not even pay attention, and that's what happens. So
yeah, you see a lot of them do that for sure.
Yep, exactly. So that's all we got to hope, is that he survives and he stays through. And he's a regular. That's like Dabs there, the one I killed a couple of years ago. He disappeared like mid-December, and he didn't ever return until the following October. And this buck, we picked him up in like April, and we watched him all spring, all summer, all fall. He is, even during the rut, he never left our block. He disappeared for like 3 days at a time. That was the longest he left. And boom, there he is. He's back. So, okay, he's still hanging right here tight. Mm-hmm. So cool. I'm hoping he continues that. And I think as long as I'm running some feed on him and keeping him in the area, I think, because once we start greening up, that's it. The neighbor's backyard here behind the house will green right up and get green. Those deer here come spring. As soon as that starts really greening up, those deer will come in the backyard, and then I'll start seeing a bunch of them. We'll probably pick him up, and I'll guarantee I'll be picking him up on mocks. As long as he stays in the block, we'll be picking him up on mocks. And then that let me just kind of finish up on why I'm running these mocks too. And a lot of guys get into, well, what's the sense of running my mocks after he sheds his antlers? And it's like, my number one reason at that time shifts to, I enjoy it. I love seeing them come in. I love keeping tabs on my deer. I do. I love to watch them. If I can see them 20 times in a month, that's what I want, And of course, like I just said with some, they'll disappear for a while, and you're like crossing your fingers, like, man, I hope you show back up. So that's kind of the main reason why I run them after they shed, is just to track them. If they stay in your area, if you got good feed and water and all that for them and good cover, those deer, they have no reason to leave. And Norm, like I said, he's a little unusual. He's a homebody. He's just one of those bucks. He's a homebody. He don't like to travel and go much anywhere. He stays right here in the box. There's plenty of doe for him, so he's like, I'm good right here. I rule this. There's there's no bigger buck than me in here. So this is my harem. All these does are mine. And so, in his head, that's what he's thinking. So no reason to leave. So if you've got a spot like that, keep them mocks going. You may have to get into where you've got to follow those deer too, because they're going to move according to feed. 100%. Feed is going to be the number one motivator for those deer, and that's what's going to cause them to move from one area out of it to a new area. So if you've got a food plot, if you've got the neighbor's farm that lets you hunt, and he's got hay fields, and he plants beans and he plants corn, that's it. Those are the areas that you'll want to key in on, especially come this summertime when you're running those summer mocks. You're going to want to be around their food source. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, he's not going to be there come that fall. He will. He's still going to hit those food sources, but he's going to be concentrating on doe. But really, your whole idea is just seeing, just knowing that he's there. That's half the battle.
Yep.
Knowing that he's even there. I mean,
it's all in your head. It keeps your head straight, because if you don't know he's there, you can go crazy when you're going to start moving stands and you don't know he's there and you're chasing. And you're chasing a ghost, because if you know he's there, then you can plan.
You just keep doing what you're doing. You just keep doing what you're doing. You get him figured out. You see how if you're running, a good mock and he's hitting it fairly regular, that's it. You get to see what direction he comes in from. I run video on all of my mock scrapes. Every camera I have, I do not do pictures on mocks. I do pictures on mineral sites because you'll fill up fast on a video. But on my mock scrapes, I run video on all of them. And I'm running Wise Eye trail cameras too. So there's no end. You don't have to go out and swap out the SD card because it's full, so you can just keep watching. And, the most I go out there is if one of my solar panels dies and I need to put a fresh one on it, whatever. But like I said, the whole idea, honestly, is just keeping tabs on your deer and keeping the tabs, especially on the one that you're kind of hoping that's going to blow up. And he might, you're thinking in the back of your mind, I might shoot that buck this fall. If he puts on some inches this year, he could be good. He's looking good already. Like Norm, let's see what he does through this next year. So that's the whole reason behind it, continuing to run them. You're just monitoring your deer. And like I told you, I just enjoy doing it. It's a blast. I do. I get a kick out of it. And I'm excited. I wake up every morning, dude. I don't even lie. I wake up every morning. I grab my phone and I look and I'm like, ooh, I got 49 notifications in my Wise Eye app. Boom. What do we got? And of course, there's a lot of others. We get coons and stuff like that coming in and all that. So, but no, every day I've been picking them up every 24 hours, around the clock, basically. I'll get 2, 3 deer that come in, check it all out, standing on their hind legs, doing the whole nine. So yeah, that's why I run mock scrapes right now. And then I'll just throw this real quick. We can kind of end this segment. Right now, all you need for Jinx'Em Scents to run a mock is our dominant buck misfortune. We offer that in synthetic. We offer it in 100%. And we also offer it in what we call dabs, which are your Orbeez. And we offer that both in synthetic and 100% with that as well. And then our number one, and I'm telling you what, I told Dawn this year, I said, this is money. This is the best scent I've ever used in my whole entire lifetime. Like literally the deer, I don't know why, but our mystic polyglandular scent. It's they are just loving it. I'm running it in our mini hex sticks. Running our dabs, so the Orbeez style, but it's the mystic polyglandular scent. And if you're not running a hex stick, you can put that on your licking branch. We got the liquid, so you can put that on the licking branch. You can put it on a rope. You can put it on a vine, whatever you're running over top of your mock. And I'm telling you what, that stuff is dynamite.
It works great.
Man, I wish that I had this back in the 80s, when there were millions of deer around, you know, compared to today. It's like, oh my God, I'd have had just on a mock scrape, I'd have probably got 100 videos a day, if not more.
Yeah, it's awesome that Mystic scent, how good it works. Because like I've been using it for a couple years now with you guys, and get a lot of deer on that. I use a vine. I like to use the vine.
Yep,
And,
that's my bet. I do the best on a vine too.
Yeah, I use the vine, and it's just something about that vine that holds the scent too, because it's got that rough bark on it and stuff.
Yep.
And I just rub that in there, and I use a rubber glove, and I wipe it on there, get it in there, and I let it go. And after the deer start hitting it, I let it go. Like now, I won't keep adding it right now.
As long as they're hitting it, you don't need to.
Yeah, I feel like how you were saying, getting back to the mock scrapes, is like, why are you running mock scrapes now? I leave my vines up all year because I want it to be as natural as possible.
Yep.
I know a lot of people go in and they make them right before hunting season, and that's fine. It works on a lot of stuff. A lot of deer, it works on it. But I like my areas that I hunt, I don't move and I don't chase the deer. Like I have a private piece by my house where I hunt the same spot every year. Okay. And so I want to create that area where I'm going to be every year. I don't switch trees. I'm in the same spot.
Yep.
I have permission on private. So I just build my mock scrape there and I let it go there all year, and all 24/7 it's running. Okay. I'm not going to lie and say I have a camera on it constantly, because sometimes I pull cameras, take them off, but I like to keep that going with my vine all year because I want it to be as natural as possible for the next set of deer coming in. It's sort of like when it's sort of like when you say, hey, I have this favorite restaurant I want to eat at, and you take your family, you take your buddies there, whatever.
Right. There might be 100 restaurants in your town, but you've got your favorite that you like to go to, and that's the one you go to.
Yeah. So
the same way.
Yeah, the new deer coming up and the new deer that move in that area. Because if you're taking bucks out of that area or deer out of there regularly, you have a new group of growing deer coming up and taking over that area.
Well, all those fawns from your doe. Mom's already showed him that. I mean, I've got hundreds of videos of fawns on my scrapes. I mean, right from little spots on them. They ain't but a month old, and they're already sniffing up at that rope and the vine, whatever.
Yeah.
And so mom's teaching them that. So if mom gets killed, then those kids, they kind of stay on that. And like you said too, you get bucks that move in from other areas. Yeah, if that's where all the deer are hanging out, and that's the scrape that they're all checking, whether it's June, July, August, or whatever, that's the one that all the deer like, oh, okay, this is our main. This is our main communication hub right here. This is where we all communicate all the time.
Yeah, it's not abnormal either, because like, I don't know if you hunt the same areas every year, Shawn,
I do. I do.
When I'm in my spot, it's like, they know I want it to be as natural as it can be. I want it to be, I don't like to disturb it. I get in my tree. It takes me about 7 minutes, maybe maximum, to get out of my truck, walk up the hill and jump in my tree, because these woodlots around here, they're tricky. Like, you don't want to go walking through those woods. You're pushing every deer out into other people's lots and yards or whatever. So when you're hunting these urban deer, you got to get in and get up in that tree as quickly as possible without being detected.
Yep.
And I have that here. So all the other stuff that's around me, when I do anything like a scrape or anything, I don't want to go in there, disturb everything right before hunting, because it's abnormal to them.
Yep. And I'm going to say, and I think too, honestly, and I'm going to say, when I start a new mock, if I get on, let's shift gears, even though I love my urban property, and like you, I walk down a gully and I'm to my stand in my urban hunt. And that stand's been in that tree since I started doing the urban hunt. And deer it's a big tree, but deer they don't even know I'm up there. When one gets shot out of there, they have no clue where it even came from. It's just one of those trees. It was a good tree. I knew it was going to be, and that's it. I blend in nice, and that's all it. But like now you take off and you go down to public ground and you start up a brand new mock. It's going to take some of those deer, for that mock to turn into a community scrape might take a little bit. But what I found out though too, here's probably the biggest thing. When I first go in to build that mock, I bump deer. Because like I've told you and everybody, I got some of my stands that are 45, 50-minute walk back into the river bottom. I'm bumping deer all the time when I go in there. But if I'm going in and out of there once a week or once every couple weeks, if that's all I can get, what happened is like the first couple, 3 trips and I'm bumping deer. After that, I stopped bumping deer, and every once in a while I'll bump one, but the deer start figuring me out. They know I'm coming in there and they know I'm coming out, and I'm not hurting anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not walking all over the place to see deer sign. I walk into my scrape. I swap out my SD card if that's what I'm doing, or put new batteries in if my camera's dead, or whatever the case may be, and I'm refreshing that mock, and I walk straight back out. I don't need to go over here 100 yards. And look, I know those deer are there. They're there every year. No reason to go even mess with those deer. Just leave them deer alone. I walk straight in, freshen up my mock, swap batteries, swap SD card, whatever I need to do, and I turn around and I walk the same path out every single time, in and out, same way. And dude, I really think that makes a big difference. And when I was running mineral sites too, that was the deal. I don't run them anymore, but when I was running mineral sites, that was the deal. I'd go in there once a month, freshen up that mineral site. And it's almost like they knew, like in their heads, like, oh, he's coming in to put more mineral over there on that stump. So they just sit back, let me walk by them. I go do my deal. I come walking back. They watch me walk back out, and I can't even count the times, dude. I would get to my truck, 40 minutes later, I jump in my truck and start to drive home, and I get a notification that I've got deer standing on that mineral site already. I've done that. I've done it with mocks as well. Same thing. So
I've done that at my dad's place over here, like in the city. The urban hunts. We had a bird bath that we used to dump corn and stuff in during the off season, and we'd go up there, and you could dump corn in that thing, and they'd hear that it's like a dinner bell, and you could turn around and walk to the down to the edge of the woods, and they'd be there already. Like they're used to that. You can train those deer.
Yep, I post a picture with Jinxie's feed mineral bar. I go up there with a 5-gallon bucket, I dump the feed out, and I bang on that bucket. Come back down to the house, and God, I've had it as quick as 3 minutes later. I'm getting pictures already. Those deer, obviously they were laying right here close, and they heard that bucket and like, oh, he just threw some feed out there for us. Boom, down they come. So, and you can do that with the scrapes too. Like I said, especially a scrape that's like getting hit heavily, and you're keeping it active, and you're coming in and out of there once a week. Those deer will literally start to relax with you coming in there, especially if you're doing it all summer. Now, these guys that want to go in, you go in mid-October, and you start up a brand new scrape. Those scrapes might be a little bit tougher to get into because none of the deer are conditioned. Every time now you're coming in there, they're freaking out and running off. But it still works because it's a rut, so it don't matter. Once that rut kicks in, that buck that's a half a mile away, he had no clue. You just walked in there, and all he's doing is bumping bedding zone to bedding zone looking for doe. And he didn't have a clue you came in there an hour earlier, and you're sitting there. He's in there looking for doe. So it might not be the one maybe that you're after, although it could be, but it might be some other giant that's coming from a mile away just looking for doe, and boom, there he comes through there, and you're sitting in your tree stand like, oh, God, never seen this buck before, but he's a good one. So, you know what?
Cool. Yeah, the mock scrapes are definitely a great tool to have. And like you said, I try to keep it as normal as possible. If I go to new areas, I do open up new scrapes. You know what I mean? Like I have another property after work that I had. It's private, but I just started hunting that last year, and it was late in the season. The acorns already fell. I should have been in there at the beginning of October, and I ended up hunting the acorns. So I just missed that window. So I'm really excited this year to be able to hit that early season with the acorns falling now. So I am going to do some walking around, but I'm going to have scrapes up well before the season out there. I have one in there now with a vine, and it's.
And speaking of walking around, now's the time to walk around. If you want to get into your area, now's the time. Bump them out of there. Who cares? Let them run off. Let them freak out. Don't matter. I'm looking for sign. I'm looking where they were. I'm looking for a big old scrape, and I'll tell you what, those are good. And people sometimes I think some people well, that's kind of cheating if I'm jumping on the scrape that's already here that the deer have. And, maybe you can look at it that way, I guess. But, I mean, what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to kill deer, or are we not? So that's just another tool in your tool bag. Get open. You walk in here this spring, you come up on a scrape that you could park your truck in, because I know everybody's seen them like that. When you come across, and even if you could park half your truck in it, you know what I'm talking? I'm talking those big giant scrapes that are just tore right up. you find one of those out in the spring while you're out shed hunting and all that, log that in your memory bank. That's a spot you could probably come in there and open that. And you might even come in there in the summer and see that, wow, they're still hitting this.
Yeah, you don't even have to open it. It's already
Exactly. But you can jump in, start throwing your scent in it and keeping it really active, stirring it up, just letting all those deer know every time they come in there, they're like, man, that scrapes. Man, everybody and their brother's stopping by here.
I like using those scrapes. I like doing that dominant buck, like that buck urine in those, because especially more towards hunting season, because it's like you have somebody in your house, and those big bucks get fired up when you start having an intruder scent in there. Like, you know, you're trying to play that game where it's like somebody's moving in on my territory. Some of that could be your best hunting when you do that, and it works, and you could see that buck coming in downwind. They don't have to walk right up to that scrape to test it. They can walk 100 yards downwind and they can check it. So I always try to set up on a downwind side, obviously, of my scrape, high enough up so that deer that's in the thicket checking it, you figure where I'm at to my scrape is 25 yards or 30, and then behind me I could shoot another 30. So I'm about 60 to 75 yards
that you're
both
covering.
Ways that I can cover both ways with my crossbow to get from the scrape to behind me. So that you got to think of that stuff as where your dominant wind is, where you want to set up your stand on your scrape. If you want to put a stand there, or do you want to put a stand further away? There's a lot of stuff you can think about, but using a mock scrape as your primary tool and then setting up around that, I think, is a great tactic.
Yep. And like you were saying there too, that with a buck I killed back in 21, supersize out on public ground, I'd been chasing that buck for 3 years. The first year I only got one video of that buck on that scrape. Actually, it was a scrape that I had set about 50 yards away. And the next year I ended up getting, I'd moved it, come onto a better spot, I felt. And that was it. I got probably a dozen, maybe 14 videos of that buck on that scrape, but they were all pretty much at night. I only had like 2 or 3 daylight. Rest of them were all at night. And then we come in, that was in 20. And then in 21, the year I killed him, that buck that buck was in there like in September. He was popping in like once or twice a week. And then we hit into like mid-October, and that dude just went crazy. He visited that scrape in that 2-week time. He visited that scrape like 32 times in just 2 weeks. And that was it. That buck literally took that scrape over. And like you were saying, where you put the pressure on him and make him feel like maybe there's another buck that's kind of moving in on my territory. And I'll say this, I don't think that you can, I think it works a little bit different than maybe what people think. And this is just me through experience and watching. People think that you can go in and by putting that buck scent in there, that it actually challenges that other buck, and that buck's laying in the woods over there all mad and pissed off, and I'm going to beat, I'm going to kick his tail when I say, I don't think that's what it does. What I think that it does, and what I think that happened with Supersize, it wasn't so much that he felt maybe another buck was coming in there per se, but there were multiple bucks coming in there. And I think what happened was I had enough bucks coming in there that he in his head was thinking, I need to start visiting this scrape more because I've got some competition. So it's not like maybe in an essence, maybe you are kind of putting that little pressure on him. You're planting that seed in his head that I've got some competition this year. Yeah. This scrape is getting, and he didn't like that in that buck. I had that buck like on 2 different days. That buck came in 3 times that day. He came in the morning, he came in the middle of the afternoon, and he came back in again that evening. And so he literally took ownership of that mock. He was like, nope, I am the big boy here. This is my mock. You all can use it. I don't care. I really don't care. But I'm just letting you know who the man here is. And when these does cycle into estrus, you know who's getting the doe and who's not. And it ain't going to be none of you little guys running around here. These are my doe. And so I think that's kind of what it does. I guess you could say it does put pressure on him maybe a little bit. I just don't think a buck sits in the woods and walks over and smells Jinx'Em Scents in a scrape and goes, and they panic and they're like, who's this? Who? I mean, I can't. No. I don't think he does that.
I just think that there's different kinds of scrapes, Shawn. Like my theory is like, you have your community scrape where all the deer are hitting that scrape.
Yep.
You have your primary, you have your secondary, you have your territory scrapes. Territory scrapes, I do believe, and I'm not saying you're wrong or I'm right or anything, but I believe that a territory scrape would piss that buck off that somebody's in their territory, like a dominant buck. If a buck goes over there and says, hey, to me, it's like, hey, I want to take over this territory. I like this. I like your house. I'm going to break in and I'm going to steal the house from you. That's how I look at it. With
right.
A buck.
Well, possibly. I think.
But a community scrape is a little different. A community scrape is like, hey, we're all going to the restaurant to eat. We'll meet you at the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? We'll go have drinks at the restaurant. That's a community scrape. But that territory scrape is, this is my house. Stay out of it. And then there's the secondary where they're just walking along tonight, walking along, eating acorns, and they got that in them. Their testosterone levels are rising. They just feel like they have to scrape here, so they do. And then they go away. That's
what I call territorial scrapes. When a buck's just worked up, he's walking around and he just does a random scrape, and there's no overhanging branch. There's nothing. He just paws the piss out of the ground. That's what I call territorial scrapes.
Okay. Yeah.
As far as like what you would call as a secondary scrape.
Yeah.
And that's it. We just don't know how they all work.
I mean,
personally, I run every scrape I've ever built anywhere. I get multiple deer hitting it. Some more than others. Some might only have 2 or 3 bucks that are hitting it and maybe 4 or 5 doe. The next scrape I've got, like, was supersized, that buck I was just talking about. I had that in 1 week. I had 27 different bucks hit that mock scrape in probably 40 doe.
Nice. Speaking, Shawn, of like a territory scrape and intruders and things like that. Like, we're here at the community scrape and we got some buck lurking around there who's intruding in our scrape here. And that's who we got right there. Look who's on here now.
Oh,
look at this intruder buck.
I thought I told you to stay in the truck.
He's an inferior buck in our.
I'm the satellite buck trying to get your does.
You ain't getting nothing, brother. You better go find another piece of property to hang out on.
I'm smelling all sweet scents that you put on.
Go pee in a different scrape, Chris. Go pee in a different scrape.
Right.
Right.
But don't make me have to, Chris. I don't want to have to go there, but I will if I have to.
Chris just got back from church this evening, right, Chris?
Yeah, I just.
You say a prayer for me?
Not tonight.
No, my wife says a prayer every Sunday for me. It's working.
Maybe.
Somebody probably should.
Yeah. It's working.
Well, good to see you, Chris. Good to see you, buddy.
My wife might say
I can help you out tonight before bedtime. I'll remember that.
There you go. Give me a prayer tonight, Chris.
Keep Shawn and Dawn in them too, man. They're going.
Oh man, this age thing, it ain't for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Well, I knew Chris was possibly coming up here, and I wanted to surprise you guys with him. He because we're going to be talking about the food stuff, the food plot seed and stuff like that. But I figured it was a perfect time to get him in there. We were talking about the dominant bucks and other bucks moving in on your scrapes, and Chris popped up in the basement there, and I was like, it's a perfect opportunity to have Chris come in and talk about that.
Perfect. So actually, I'll be getting a hold of you, Chris, because we're with that Outdoor Dan outdoor radio show there. Okay. And he wants us to do some podcasts. And I told Don, I says, I think we need to get with Chris and we can do a food plot discussion podcast. And
sweet.
Because he wants like 12 podcasts from us to put on the outdoor radio, because he owns his own radio station. So you download the outdoor radio app. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. So he's like, I want you guys to do me up like maybe 12 podcasts, and you were one of them that I thought of when we get down. Nice. And if we want to do a food plot seed one, I wanted to get. So anticipate me contacting you. We're so busy though. I looked at Don. I'm like, how are we ever going to get time to do 12 podcasts?
Yeah. It ain't as hard as you think though, Shawn. We could wipe them out in a couple. You could do a couple on a weekend.
Yeah, I get it, but it's, man, we get so busy, dude. We're going in 15 different directions, and then with Dawn's issues with her health and everything going on too, it's just like, my God, you know, we there's not enough time in the day. But no, we could get it done, and we're gonna try. And we got till the end of the year. He wants them, you know, just throughout the year, 12 of them between now and the end of the year. So we got till New Year's Day, basically.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm down for that for sure.
All right. Perfect.
Yep. So yeah,
Yes.
so let's
what's your
wrap
subject
up
tonight?
Well, we're talking about the mock scrapes and why you're running mock scrapes later in the season, after the season. Shawn did a good segment on that. I just run them, like I said, with Shawn, and just for inventory and keeping it normal, keeping it like going like a natural thing all year. And that way during hunting season, all you got to do is dump some more fresh scent in there, and they're used to that stuff. So it just keeps it normal. Nothing, you're adding something to the woods.
If you've got a scrape that runs through the summer that you're getting a few deer on a week, and it might, like I said, it slows way down. Don't think you're going to get hammered like the rut, you know. You're going to you might pull that card, or if you got a cell cam, you might get 5 or 6 videos a week, you know, off from that mock. But that's the whole idea. The ones that are getting the deer that are visiting now, man, those are the ones that come fall when the rut's starting to get closer. We hit mid-October. Those are the scrapes. Those are the scrapes that are first to open up and really get going. And because you've already got every deer that lives there has already hit it. They might not be hitting it very often. Like I said, you might only get 5, 6, 10 videos a week through July and August. But that's it. Come in September, they shed that velvet and they start hitting scrapes. Those scrapes are going to be the ones that are going to start drawing everybody in because they've already been hitting it. And nobody has to open up a new scrape over here or a new one over there. There's this one we've all been chatting on for the whole summer, you know? So boom, that's a lot of it too, right there.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out real quick, guys, that my wife is making these steak rolls tonight. And I can't wait to get into them. She's in the kitchen right now making.
Hey, Mr. Polanoski.
Hey, we got Boxy here too, Shawn. He's a member of the pro staff of the Jinx'Em Pro staff, I believe.
Oh yeah, Boxy Outdoors.
Boxy's in here. We got Mesner Outdoors in here. What's up, buddy? Thank you for coming in. We're just talking about the why you're running mock scrapes after the season. We're just about ending that segment now, but we're going to get into, we have some important stuff. We're getting into the food plot seed, and also right now, before we get into the food plot seed, I want to touch on right now is the importance of your mineral and why, and minerals running now, like putting your minerals out right after the season, the importance of that. And do you guys do that? I do. So I wanted to hear from you guys and what your spiel is on that. Like, why do you do it? And what do you think? Do you think it helped your deer? Do you think it grows big racks? Do you think it doesn't? What do you think?
I've got a trunk load of stuff right now that I've got to get into the woods, but I still have 2 feet of snow. So I'm trying to, I've got a couple of blocks. I got a selenium block, a sulfur block, and trace mineral bag that I want to get dumped down there.
Ooh, that sounds like it's all good for them big racks, Chris.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put it to them. We'll see what happens.
I'm a mid-March guy. I got mineral sites running that. God, that one, I haven't put mineral on it in 2 years and they're still destroying it. But I pour on a stump. But I don't get a lot of activity over the winter. I mean, honestly, my mineral sites shut down October 1. It's like, honestly, it's like once season opens up, my mineral sites slow way down. By the 3rd week of October, I literally have no deer hitting my mineral.
Yeah,
and that'll be like that, and that runs for me all the way through until about mid-March. Once snow's out, that snow comes out, and we start warming up. Boom, and things start greening. Then my mineral sites come alive, and that's honestly because once that stuff starts greening, those deer are hammering those greens, and there's a lot of H2O in that greens that they're eating. It flushes their systems hard, especially when it starts getting real green in the spring and they've got that's all they're hammering. You know as well as I do, come spring, when the first field that greens up, man, you drive by there at night and there'll be deer all over in that. So, but what they're doing because of those greens, and there's so much moisture in that they start flushing their systems hard. So that's when they really start getting that pull, that craving that I need my I need my mineral. I need my salt. I'm craving all this. And that's when my mineral sites really start to come alive. And honestly, I start mine. I'll get out and freshen them up. When I was running them, I get out about the mid-March. And by the end of March, usually, that's it. Those things are, that last week of March, they're on fire. And then April, May, June are just hammering hard. July, honestly, I don't really start slowing down on mineral sites then again until probably about end of September. They start slowing down a little bit. And again, then we're back to that October again. And my mineral sites just shut down. It's just how it's always been for me. So like I said,
I keep the minerals running through their velvet when they're velvet, and once they hit hard horn, then I'm done with the minerals.
Yeah, once I start, I run mineral all the way. Once I start, mid-March, I'm running mineral all the way until pretty much. I'll probably my last one, honestly, about mid-September. I'll dump a little bit out, and then I'm done. Yeah. And then I don't touch it again for the rest of the year. And
see, in PA, you got to be done 30 days before season.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, we quit here about September 1st. Yeah. So I'm getting pictures every night now, and I haven't put anything out since last summer. So they're still tearing that up.
What I wanted to mention,
I'm gonna freshen that up now.
You know what I wanted to mention, Chris, and I'm sorry for I'm being not professional here, but when we talked about your mock scrape, we talked about your mock scrapes before, Shawn. I just wanted you, before we got into the mineral, but we're always going on and we could talk for hours and hours, but can you please let them know what you have available in your scent for your mock scrapes right now again, like what you have to go on the website. I'll have the description, the link of the website in my description of this video, or any of my other videos. Go over and check out the description. You can go over to Jinx'Em Scent, and if you want to use my code, you can save some money on it. But what do you have available right now that you can give, that you have left in your stock that is good to start the mock? And then we'll get into the mineral. I'm sorry, I should have did that.
Oh no, it's all good. All good.
I forgot about it.
Yep. Well, we covered it too earlier, I think too. But right now, really, all you need is our dominant buck liquid, or our dominant buck in our dab forms, and we have that both synthetic and 100%. And then our Mystic polyglandular scent. That's stuff
the most important.
That stuff is fire. But we also have some of our other gland scents that we didn't talk about here earlier. You could run our Doomed, which is no interdigital gland. You could use a little bit of that in a scrape, just showing that they've stepped in that scrape, gives that interdigital gland scent. You could probably use some of our Warlock, which is just butt tarsal gland scent, not rutting buck. It's just butt tarsal. So you could probably run a little bit of that. And what else we got? That's about it. The summoning we have, that's a rutting buck tarsal. So you wouldn't want that right now because our bucks aren't rutting. They're still hitting scrapes, but they're not all rutted up. So, but mainly right now, you literally, in our limb liquor, let me throw that out there too. Our limb liquor is pretty dang good too. And
Boxy loves that. Boxy loves the limb liquor.
A lot of guys use that limb liquor. Yep. I got guys who use both. They'll put the Mystic polyglandular scent up there, and then they'll also put a little bit of that limb liquor up there. And then they're putting dominant buck in that ground scrape, either our liquid or dabs or both. And again, like I said, our urine side, the Misfortune, that's available in synthetic or 100%. So we are set pretty good on all of that. We are running a little bit low on our synthetic dominant buck liquid, but we still got enough to hold us on for a little while anyways. Okay. But literally, that's all you need right now. That will get a scrape going. That will get deer checking it out. There's nothing else really that you need to do to that scrape. Just if you've been running your mocks, go out, open them back up, get that camera back on them, and run our dominant buck and our Mystic polyglandular scent, and you're good to go. You'll get deer visiting.
All right, cool. Sorry, I wanted to do that. I wanted you to make sure you mentioned that. Sorry about that. I
still have my cameras running on my vines.
I didn't. I shut my cameras down right now.
I don't even take them down. I just keep them running. Even
if I'm just getting does. You still getting activity, Chris?
I have does and fawns a lot, but that's okay with me because like we said earlier, those are the frequent flyers. And then when the season starts coming around, they really smash it, and
Yep.
they cause that scent dispersal that the bucks will crave and come
Yep.
in and hit those vines. And
Yeah, the more
it
doe, the
just-
better for me.
Yep.
For sure.
they just start smashing it then, you know. So
Yeah.
And if it's getting hit by them, he knows anyways from the year before, especially if he lived. He's like, I know where to go. I'm going to my
Yep.
favorite. I'm going to my favorite bar, and I'm going to have a drink or two.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
He's coming to the plot, and that's where I have the vines, and he knows that's where the girls gather. So he'll be
Yep.
back.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Very cool. All right, so we're going to end the mock scrape segment. Thank you guys for all your input and everything. That was a lot of good information there. So yeah, the feed and the mineral, Shawn, I'm going to run over real quick. I got them all pulled up here. I'm just going to name them all. We don't have to go into every one of them, but I want you to give me your best, what you think, what works for you, and why people should use a feed and a mineral. So we have the Fat Racks mineral, we have the Munchies deer feed, Fat Racks mineral persimmon. We got the Crazy Candy apple. We got the Rack Sacks mineral drip. You actually have a bag that drips mineral for you guys. We have the Mean Green apple, the Crazy Candy apple, Radical Red Delicious. We got Rack Sacks peanut butter, Pimpin' peanut butter, I should say. Like the name of that one. We got the Sweet Corn Surge. We got the Purple Haze grape. Yeah, that's all the Radical Red Delicious. I think I said that. And the Rack Sacks, the drips. You have the drips, the feed, and the actual granular mineral. So go ahead and explain what you like to use. And then Chris and I will just put a little bit of input after you discuss your product to the people. Go ahead.
First up, we'll do the Munchies deer feed first. That's one of the, on its own kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's got roasted soybeans, sunflower seeds, pellets. I don't even remember. Cracked corn.
Hold on, I'm going through it right now. So if you miss one, I'll put it in there for you.
Does it say what's on there? You got it?
Let's see. It don't say exactly what's in it. Great for consistent deer movement.
Yep, it might not. But it's basically roasted soybean and sunflower seeds.
It's 17% protein. I know that.
Yep.
That's 17% protein. Mix of grains too.
So it actually has a deer pellet in there mixed in with it too, plus cracked corn.
Yeah.
That right now, I'm using that right now. If you've been on the page, come over to Jinx'Em Scents page on Facebook.
That's it. Sure.
That's what I'm using right now, and I'm getting visits at Jinxie's Feed and Mineral Bar every night.
Yeah, and that's the food. That's the power of food right now.
Yep, and that's the Munchies. I will say I do better when I have a bunch of snow on the ground because deer are lazy. They don't like to dig. So my food plot there, or my feed, really turn on when we get snow on the ground. That's it. Just brings in all the deer come in because it's easy to get and it's right there. But I've been getting good action on that. Now on our mineral, our Fat Racks, the original recipe, that is good. That's honestly about what I use. Pretty much my mineral sites that out in, like I don't run my mineral sites anymore. But when I was, that was what I was using the original. And I did. The only time I would recommend that somebody uses some of our flavored stuff is on like a brand new site. If you want that attraction quality, you want that set in the air. You want it to get the deer to come over to say, "Ooh, what's that awesome smell?" So, and it's pretty much honestly on that flavored mineral. It's kind of personal preference. If you're in, I know you guys in Ohio, like Iowa, we don't have persimmons trees. I mean, if we do, it's because somebody planted them, not because they grew here. I know Ohio's got a lot of persimmons trees. So persimmons would probably work good in your area like that. Same when you get into our apple. Now peanut butter, deer like peanut butter. Don't matter from north to south, east to west, they like peanut butter. So literally the flavored stuff is just, personal preference. The only difference is in our original Fat Racks, we offer that in an 8-pound. And we offered a 50-pound, but that's for pickup only. But we offered an 8-pound that we will ship. And our flavored mineral, that only is available in 3-pound bags.
Okay.
So
how long would you say that a 3-pounder? Because I go through a ton of feed at the end of the season and throughout the season. Is that something that's just like you have to keep obviously keep putting on if you want to keep the deer staying in the area and feed, and you just want to keep, you know, do you have any kind of like you reorder, like when you order that, didn't you have some kind of system where you can constantly order it?
Yep.
So how often does that go?
You can get a subscription. And I think honestly, Dawn's
That's
probably
what it
the
is,
best one to answer about that. But I think you can set it up as often as you would like. If you want it every 2 weeks, I think it's available. You can go, it might even be set up weekly where you can get a fresh bag every week, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I think it's kind of, and I'd have to look at that, but there are options on there. That much I do know, where you can kind of set up if you don't want to, you know, and we've got guys that have a monthly subscription and they order 2 bags every month. And with me out here now, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm putting 2 scoops, which is honestly, it gives me about 4.5 pounds I get, and I'm dumping that every day, and I'm spreading it out over a pretty big area. Make them work for it a little bit. Put it in their pile. They'll be eating it by the mouthful, you know. So I spread it out so they got to pick around and get it. And I skip a day every now and then. Like tonight, I did not dump feed on there tonight, and there's a little bit stuff that's still left out there. There's some oats and stuff there. The birds like the oats. The deer don't really hammer the oats so much. So you'll see some of that left over after they've ate everything else. And so there's something to keep them in. But one day is usually all I skip. So I put like 4.5 pounds on a day on my feed spot. And like I said, and that just keeps them coming to check it out. Eating if it's there, because I know many times deer have come in and there ain't nothing there, and they're like, dang it, missed it. They already ate it all. But those deer, as long as you get back and come in and, you know, within the next couple of days and put it out, they're going to come back through there to check it again.
Okay. Now, do they, when they order that subscription, do they get a little bit of a discount if they're continuously ordering it? Do they get any kind of, is there a discount on that as well? Like
there is,
you have a subscription order. Okay, I just want people to know that. That's all.
And to tell you what that discount is, again, that's Dawn's kind of department.
We'd have to have the
but
CEO
you do,
up there.
yes, you'll save money by signing up for the subscription. You get it cheaper. So honestly, like I said, I feed them like that too, because bottom line is, if I took a 50-pound bag of deer feed out there, munchies out there, and dumped it on the ground, they'd have it gone in a day and a half, 2 days. Tops.
Down in Ohio, it would be gone. I'd have to put out 5 bags a day. I'm not kidding.
So you just give them enough to keep them coming back. And it's kind of, and I think they kind of take it as a challenge too, like, who's going to be the first one to get in on that every day to try to get because I know it's going to be full when I get there. If I get over there early enough, if I come in late, the other deer have already been in there, and it's going to be slim pickings. So,
well, believe that or not, Shawn, Ohio, that is a good technique to use, and we've done that down Ohio. Like you want to be like, you know, we dump it out there, but sometimes like when they're hammering it hard, we take away, we don't add it anymore, and then we'll just put a little bit out to get that daylight movement, you know. Now you see them. And that's what I tell you,
I bang on my bucket. I bang on my bucket, and I've had them 3 minutes later. I've had deer standing on that, eating that feed.
Yeah, like that tectonic feeder that feeds only during the day, like you condition them. We're doing that without the feeder. We're trying to add some, and we don't put a lot out, so they have to come and get it before the next deer. So
100%.
That's actually a technique during hunting season where in the states where you're allowed to bait.
Well, there ain't no different in your dog. I mean, you could train your dog to do the same thing, that you keep repeating that with your dog. He's going to figure out, okay, I know what time my bull's going to get food put in it. It's the same time every day. My
dog's right here at 6 o'clock, 10 to 6. My wife walks in. All you got to do is say the word, and they are fanatic. They know it. They're ready to go. So
you can definitely you can definitely do that with deer too. They'll definitely start picking. Well, they got them feeders now. You see that they open up and close up with timers.
That's that tectonic that when I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they got to come in there when it's open, or they're, and it might take a minute. It might take them a minute to figure it out, but you keep doing it. They will. They'll eventually figure, I got it. Okay, that sucker opens up at this time every day. It's like you going down to your local bar, you know, you have to go down there and stand there for an hour waiting for the doors to open up. You're going to be going, yeah, right. I'll just wait a little later and stop by, and doors are open. Let's go.
Yep, for sure. Okay, well, that is the thing. Now, what about the real quick, just can you touch on the drip bags? Like, what do you think? How do they work for you guys? Because I have never used a mineral drip bag ever, so I was just curious myself, actually, in the audience, just how do you like that drip bag?
they're a maintenance deal. That's it. They're just basically, when it rains, they're rain activated, weather activated. If it rains, they start dripping. You know, obviously, if we're droughting out and all that, you may have to go out there every little bit with a pop bottle, or right there what you're drinking your tea out of, full of water, and slowly pour it over top of that, and it'll just allow it to drip. But the whole idea is honestly to be activated by rain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is, just a burlap bag. Make sure that you've got a limb over top of your mineral site that you can hang it off from, and make sure you put it up high enough that the deer can't get up on their hind legs and steal it, because we've been sent multiple videos of deer doing just that. Literally get on their hind legs, they bite it, and they break that string and pull it right off that branch, and they'll literally go walking off through the woods with it hanging out of their mouth.
Nice. How long does the drip bag last, you think? I mean, I guess it's according to how much rain and everything.
It all depends on rain. You know, it's just something you'll have to monitor. If you're checking your mineral sites, a lot of guys are like every 4 weeks, every 4 to 6 weeks, a lot of guys are getting in and freshening their sites up. Mm-hmm. That drip bag, you'll be able to monitor over that 4 to 6 weeks to look and say, hey, do I need to probably swap that out, or does that look like that's probably going to be good for a little bit while? And so a lot of that will be through trial and error, and it'll be with the weather. Weather's going to dictate everything. We get a super wet spring, summer, that's it. That mineral bag, that rack sack is going to deplete a lot quicker the more rain we get. So it's hard to actually put a time frame on how long that'll last. A lot of it's just self-monitoring, checking it out, seeing what it's doing. Oh, I got to go out there and dump. I'm going to go out and dump another 5 pounds of mineral on my site anyway. So I'm going to check and see what that drip bag's doing, if it looks like it needs replaced or not. Bring one with you. If you get in it, don't need to replace, and take it back out with you and just leave that one and just, you know, kind of be prepared. Like with me on before my cell cameras, I'd go in to check them, you know, and I'd forget batteries. They should be good on batteries, so I wouldn't take no batteries, and I get in there and the dang camera's dead.
Gotcha.
I'm like, crap, didn't bring no batteries with me, so now I'm screwed. So something like that, you know. After 3-4 weeks, if you've got a whole bunch of rain, carry a spare bag in with you. Check that bag that's hanging. If it's good to go, then just leave it. If it's not, swap it out with a new one.
Awesome. All right, great information on that. Now we're going to get into the food plot seed, because it's going to be coming up here quicker than we expect.
Some guys, the further south we get, there are the southern states. Everybody down, you get into Oklahoma and down there, those guys are already starting frost seed down there.
Okay, so we got a couple different ones here. I'm just gonna name them, and then we're gonna go through them. Like, we don't have to get too detailed into them, because seed is seed, but we're gonna go into. We got the Rack Exploder, we got Extreme Perennial, we got the X20 Perennial Plot Mix, we got the Wildlife Turnips, the Sweet Beets, we got the Triple X Woodland Forage Plus. We got the Double X Woodland Forage Mix, and then one of my ones that I want to get into is the Seclusion, the Sorghum Sudan Grass. I would like to get into that with you a little more detailed, but go ahead and if you want to start with the Rack Exploder.
That Rack Exploder is a late summer, August, basically August plant. It's got turnips. I know
got it here if you need it. I can say what's in it if you'd like.
Yeah,
to.
read it off real quick.
All right, so the weight in that is it's a 1.7 pound, suitable for areas up to a quarter acre. We got brassicas, we got turnips, clover, and chicory in that one. Great North Roofer, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so we got that. That's a little bit of the best of all. You know, you got a little bit of everything in that. You got the chicory, the clover that's going to come back a little bit, and then the turnips and the brassicas.
And you could frost seed that if you wanted. I mean, the only thing in that mix right there that you might run into a problem with is if planted too early, you could get those turnips to rot out before the cold weather sets in. I've got other guys that say BS that you can plant them and they'll still be good come that fall. Those deer are they'll dig those radishes, those turnips, whatever, that kind of stuff. You can plant it early. Some guys, and I think a lot of that might depend on the amount of moisture maybe that we're getting. If we're getting a real heavy spring and of rain and summer too, you might run in maybe where those start to rot out on you come, about October when deer season's rolling in. All of a sudden, it's like, oh man, those aren't doing it. So that would be the only. But you could frost seed that.
Okay.
Because that chicory and that clover in Nebraska, all that stuff is a spring plant.
Mm-hmm.
So those 3 are spring plants. So the only thing not is the turnip so much but I kind of believe in the BS side. I think those turnips will still be good come the fall for the most part.
Cool. All right. The next one we have is Extreme Perennial, and that is a clover chicory alfalfa blend.
Yep. That's got 4 clovers. If I can remember them all, Elsic, Ladino, Crimson, and White, I believe, clover in that, the 4 clover mixes, and then alfalfa, and then that chicory, which chicory is very high protein.
That's 35% protein in that mix.
Yep, that is a great frost seeder spring plant right there. That's something you want to get in early. So honestly, depending on what this weather's going to do, but if we figure typical winters for us people here in the Midwest, you get into maybe mid-March, you could probably start thinking about frost seeding for the most part. If you got snow on the ground, I would recommend not throwing it over top of your snow. For one, birds will eat it like birdseed. So you wait till that snow is gone, wait till you got exposed soil, and then you can start that frost seeding. So don't worry either if you've got exposed soil and you frost seed and then all of a sudden you get 6 inches of snow. Don't worry about that. That's natural. That snow is just going to cover that seed, going to protect it, honestly. And then once that melts off, then it's going to do its thing just like nature does. So,
okay. So that is now we have the X20 perennial plot mix. Now I've frost seeded this mix a few years ago, and last year I think I added it. I had a bag of it you got me, and I did frost seed that. Alfalfa, obviously, it's in our area. My alfalfa, like, it's hard to grow alfalfa. You need a lot of water in my area.
Yep.
But the clover, I was more concerned about the clover. If the alfalfa came up, so be it. But the clover is what I was interested in. And that turned out pretty good because both you guys know about my destination plot at our camp. It's all clover, but I will throw the alfalfa and stuff in. Like if I had X20, I'd plant it, frost seed it. You know what I mean? There's no problem with that at all. But I'm more interested in that clover because I want to make that a full clover plot. And I did get 15 pounds of clover off you coming.
Yeah.
So we're getting, and I got the,
you did that last year too.
Yeah, I did the Ladino, the Crimson, and the White this year.
You
get just different stages of clover and different kinds of clover in this destination plot. I want to make it a full clover field. But this X20 is good stuff. If you got enough moisture, and I just want to say my part on it, Shawn, and you could touch in on it. It's got the clover and alfalfa. It's suitable up to a 1/4 acre. It's 2.2 pounds. And it's a really good, it's basic mix, but the quality of the seed, guys, in this stuff, I did want to mention that too, Shawn, real quick. I've been using your seed for the last 3 years now, and I haven't had an issue. And I wanted to tell you guys, last year I had a mix that Shawn, we'll be talking about that later on, and I tested it last year, and I was very nervous because it was my first year testing for Jinx'Em, the seed, and I was nervous about our drought that we had last year. Okay. And everybody had a drought. And I think my dad may have saved the food plot, Shawn. I'm just telling you right now. He was like Superman last year. He went down and loaded up the tractor with 50 gallons of water in our 3-point hitch with the hose on it. And he went up to his plot and he watered that mid-season by hand, the whole plot. And we got about a 1/2 acre. So it wasn't easy. And
definitely helped. Definitely helped. Guaranteed.
It definitely saved our plot. Now, did it stun a little bit? I'm not going to lie to you. It didn't grow out of rage. It did stun a little bit, but it had its attractant qualities. And I want to explain that a little bit. There's a lot of people out there, and I've seen this technique, and Chris he knows. I know Chris knows about it because he's the food plot guru here. But a lot of people will plant their food plots very late in the season just to get minimal growth, to keep it young and tender. And they use that as an attractant quality of the food plot. They don't want to get the big leafy greens on it, and it's rough because it's more palatable to these deer if they're young and tender. So people well, I don't want to say waste the seed, but they time it as to like they want to have a like your steak. You don't want your steak
Yeah,
like
I
shoot
want to
level.
half mature by the time the season opens when I can hunt. I don't want
Yeah.
it fully matured. Yep. Oh yeah.
And that's a technique that a lot of people overlook, I think, a lot of times. Whereas instead of planting it, and Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, instead of planting it at that mid-August or something, planting it at the beginning of September to get that 30 days, because you got a 45 to 60 day maturity rate. So if you get it within that 35 to 50 here, when it's, when it's growing, you're getting them deer that attract the qualities of that deer coming through, and they're going to eat them tender shoots. Now you're going
Oh
to have,
yeah. Oh yeah.
you're not going to have the tonnage, but you're going to have that attraction quality. And
Yeah.
So what I did this past year, I had that drought in my area where it didn't rain for 2 months, and I have 2 huge blocks of clover, and then in the center portion, I have approximately, it's not quite a half acre, but I usually plant that as almost like a kill plot, and that's what I hunt over on the tree line. And so I have the attractive quality all year because clover's king,
I'll be right back.
and
Hold on.
they'll come to that all year. But what I did is I planted, since we had that drought, and in the center portion I just let it grow wild from last year's leftovers, and that was about burned out from that drought. Well, my 2 huge clover plots were drying up from the drought and losing attractability. But knowing that I was in late September going into October, I went ahead and planted. I planted that center portion that I wanted to hunt over, knowing that there was going to be fall rains coming. I knew the drought had to end at some point.
Right. Hopefully, anyways. Right.
Yeah, I went ahead and I planted that before a rain, and it germinated really quickly. And our archery comes in the first weekend in October, so I planted it late September, and that fresh shoots come up, and they were 3 or 4 inches tall. And guess what? The deer were coming to.
Hammered.
They were coming to that fresh stuff.
Yep.
That center portion that I planted, and I did it purposely because I knew the rain was coming, but I didn't waste the seed and try to plant it in the summer like a lot of people did, just praying for rain. I did it with a technicality that I knew was going to happen.
Yep.
And because if I had just went in there and planted that in July or August, it just would have fizzled out and been nothing. I would have wasted a couple jugs of seed.
Yep,
for sure.
And then there was another mix that I did that I used a couple years previous, and it was a very wide variety, multiple blend. Actually, the blend had 2 jugs to it. You had to mix 2 jugs together to make the blend, and I did that purposely too.
I'll be right back. Keep going there, Chris.
I had planted that early September, and I knew a lot of it was going to be slow growing, so some of the stuff in it wasn't fast maturing. So I planted it a little bit early. I put that in September, and then let that just mature right through archery, and then that got really.
Did that mature for you? Did that mature after? Did it get smashed?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, they smashed it. They kept it. They kept it
4 inches
down.
Inches,
yeah. They kept it mowed down for me, so it never really fully matured. But that was the intent. The intent was to keep it slow and low, and that's what they like. They like that fresh stuff coming up.
Yeah, and that's what I've learned, that they like that young and tender stuff. Now, you're not going to get the tonnage that you want, but you have, like down at our property, we have some areas where, I want the greatest attraction where I'm hunting, okay? And I don't hunt you can't be in every spot at once, but I like to have the best attraction in my dad's food plot, basically, for my son.
I mean, those big leafy plants look great for pictures, but sometimes if it's over mature,
it's not palatable.
It's just not what they're gonna crave.
Yep.
It just it's a lot of food plot is timing.
Yeah.
You got
We're gonna go into that frost seed and then your take on that after we get done with all the seed blends here.
yeah.
I want you to do sort of your spiel. Remember how you were talking about when people were asking you that question, and I'll bring that question up and then I'll have you explain it at the end of this segment.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Shawn to get back to get this other that we're on the wildlife turnips now. And that's just a turnip seed and suitable for a 1/4 acre. You get 1.5 pounds of that. Store in a cool, dry place. Keep away from direct sunlight. But it's a turnip seed. I really don't like. I don't like to plant the brassicas early. I don't think that's for me. It's more of a fall. It's more of a fall planting than a summer planting. Now, some of the mixes that have that in, so be it. Go ahead, plant it. But I'm always planting brassicas in August and beginning of September. That's just me. And like I said, if I want the big green leafy leaves, I will plant mid-August and I'll get that extra 15, 20 days on it, which will get it up to where it needs to be if it isn't stunted and if you're getting the rains. And you know this, Chris, we're going into some, and I'm going to mention the company is Agritech. We're going to be using the calcium, the ag lime and all that, or the cal lime. And or what is it called? It's called ProCal, and it has the micronutrients in it, and it has the lime. We're going to be using that, and we switched to, instead of a granular fertilizer, we switched to the foiler, and I believe that the foiler is the way to go, and that's because that you hardly get any waste. If you do waste any and it hits the ground, it does go into the ground like a granular, so it's there. But most of that foiler spray is going to the leaf, which is getting used up directly into the plant within 48 hours. I believe that's what
the only problem with that stuff is people that don't have their nutrition, their nutrition and their pH and things, nutrients, right? They don't have it high enough to begin with, and everything's so low, and then they try to use those liquid compounds, and it's not it can't raise it enough. So they have to have their nutrition high enough in the soil already that when they use foiler feeding, that it just supplements it and helps it along. It's not a fix though, it's a band-aid. So you got to have that nutrition in there already.
And Agritech, and they claim that will bring up the pH in that ground and everything. They say that, but their micronutrients, whatever they have in there. So we're going to try it this year, but the foiler spray helped last year a lot. But I like the foiler sprays as opposed to the granular fertilizer.
I love foiler spray, but like I said, it's not a complete fix like people are trying to tell you. It's you have to be close already, and then when you use it,
doesn't that stuff like lime? You put lime down and stuff like that, though. That I've heard that 6 months before that even really starts to affect that soil.
Usually it's 3 months to 6 months for sure.
Yeah,
so we
put it in.
We put it in May. The pelletized lime we do in May.
Because I think a lot of guys are under that impression that, I put my lime on there and your soil's still going to test crappy because that's all got to soak in and then get into that soil and mix in and what do they say? Marry with one another, and before
that's why the liquid's a little better to get it instant results, but you still got to be close because that ain't a total fix with the liquid. Like you can't have a bad pH, put liquid on your plants and expect it to grow. It's only going to raise it maybe a 0.5 point to maybe 1 at the most if you're putting it on there. But you got to have your dirt right.
That a lot of times while I'm frost seeding, I'm also adding my Pel lime.
You're putting it in the seed and spreading it so you can see.
I'm putting it all out together around frost seeding time.
That's what I'll be doing with the frost seeding.
If you're doing that every year, though, then if you're doing that every year, though, then once you get it up to where you want it,
you just keep doing it.
Then you can keep doing it, and it's going to keep you where you need to be.
Yep, I just top it off.
That's all you do.
There's been years that I didn't need anything. The last 2 years I didn't put any lime on any plots.
See, now me with our camp down there with my destination plot on my dad's, we lime it every year, no matter what, because I feel that like every year it's going to dissipate. Okay. So if I don't put it in, we got it to where we need it to be. And I just feel like maintaining it now. Now we don't have to put the 30, 40 bags into there anymore. We put 10 bags in it every year and just keep it, adding it every year.
The key is just testing. Just do your tests.
Yep.
It's a cheap $20. It's a cheap $20 insurance plan.
Yep.
So that you don't fail. and it's
And then
cheaper than a bag of lime.
you can also plant those like those radishes and those turnips and those beets and all
Let
that
them
rot
rot
into
and
your
get them
soil, till them back in, and that'll help to
gives you the
build your soil.
biomass.
Yep,
for
it'll
sure.
build your soil builder.
Well, and that's what I was just gonna say while you was away too, Sean. Ted was talking about he doesn't like to plant his brassicas too early because they'll get woody and stemmy and unattractable. But so a lot of people like to plant them earlier, and
Mhm.
then they'll till them in for that green manure so that
Yep.
they have something for fall.
I
Yep.
would use, to me, I would use the cheaper stuff instead of the more expensive. I would use the rye.
I mean,
and
for
plant
sure,
that,
I
and then
I
do
would
the
put
rye.
in buckwheat and plow it down.
Yeah.
Yep, buckwheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my boy does that on the farm out there, buckwheat.
Yep. And a lot of people will do that method where they do the buckwheat, then they walk into it and they plant it, and then they crimp it down and they crimp
Right.
it. I'm scared of that method. For me, I'd rather till it in. I'd rather kill the rye because rye's easier than the buckwheat.
But that's something else about food plots too, that like my boy, he's kind of my go-to because he's pretty good at that stuff too. He's all herbicides, pesticides. He knows he's just good with all that stuff. And like he said, in a perfect world, you really, if that's like he said, you go into a CRP, or what we call CRP out here, Michigan, we call it fallow grass, whatever, native grass that's just been growing forever. And you go in there and till that all up. Like he said, you're not really going to see a good plot in that until the third season. And like he said, he goes, I would recommend, honestly, you go and till it and cover crop it for 2 seasons.
That's
Cover
what we do with
crop
the
it for
rye.
2 seasons straight. That third season, come in and work it up and then plant your food plot. That's when you're really going to see. But like he said, guys want those food plots. You're still going to get some stuff growing. So, but just know that it's going to be probably that third year before you really start to see that plot starting to come into its own.
Unless you do the soil sample and add everything that you need that year, which is
really,
expensive.
taking care of it like a garden. A lot of guys don't. They plant it and then they're praying for water, and then they let it die because we don't get any rain, and then they're all upset, and that's part of food plotting.
Yep.
I'm one of those guys that I'm going to go out and buy me one of those 250 gallon, like your dad did. I'm buying me a couple 100-gallon tank, and if I can't save my food plot, the whole thing, I'm going to try to save as much of it as I can. And everybody's like, "Oh man, you get 57,000 gallons and a half inch of rain, per acre," and it's like, or whatever that number is. I know I'm probably wrong.
Anything helps.
I'm like, okay, but you don't need a half inch of rain to save that food plot. An 1/8 inch, a 16-inch of rain is better than nothing.
A lot of times the dew will save it. The dew in the mornings will save your food plots, believe it or not.
Well, the dew can actually make your plot sprout too. I mean,
yeah, if you're
but
not
I've got a 210-gallon tractor supply tank that I put on a trailer, and I drag it around, and I made a little little boom on the back of it. Just drilled holes in PVC and made a plastic boom, and I just drive over the plot and let it drizzle all over that center portion that I was talking about earlier. And I saved that, in addition to knowing that rain was coming. But to add to what you were saying before about your boy saying about the third year and that, and a lot of that reason is you're controlling the weeds the first.
That's why he said that. Exactly. Get that cover crop in, because you want to choke out those native weeds. Get rid of them, because that's what you're going to be battling that first couple of seasons pretty hard. And even into that third season, you'll have some of that stuff that's really hard to get rid of anyways. You'd know the names of some of that better than me, Chris, but some of that stuff is just like the boy said. He's like, man, some of that stuff is so strong. It's like you could never get rid of all of it. You can kind of get it under control, but man, the minute you think you got it, boom. It's like, are you kidding me?
That's why tilling is frowned upon nowadays, because you bring it up that new seed.
Yeah, you wake up those seeds that have been buried and they're dormant, and all of a sudden now they get brought up closer to the surface that they need, and boom, they germinate.
And we will till, like when we open up new plots, like we're planning on making this one plot bigger than it is. This year we're not, but when we do make a bigger plot or extend a food plot, we will till it, but we'll plant rye cereal grain. First thing we put
Yep.
in there, because that stuff will grow in the bed of your truck. You can plant that in there.
And it comes up fast.
We lime it first thing, and we plant the rye, and we let it go for that year. Then we
Yep.
cut it like grass. So anything cut goes back into the ground. We do that for only 1 year. It would be nice for us to do that, but I'm the guy that wants to be. We have a small 120 acres. We want the food now, and rye is food, but it's not a preferred source for them when we have our other
just because it don't have the nutrients that you want to, they're literally, if you're using just straight rye, there's no nutrient value to that deer in that at all. They just like it because it greens up first. It's green and it attracts them. It pulls them in. It tastes good. They eat it. But now if you want to get the benefits, then go to like a cereal rye.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Then you're getting, that's where you start to get into where you get a little protein, a little carbohydrates, start to give them a little bit of what they need. But
I won't plant the ryegrass in my plots.
Yeah, you just plant a straight ryegrass, and that's going to do to really, like I said, they'll hit it, they'll come to it because it's green.
Yeah,
but for them in their heads, they don't know it, but it's not really doing a whole lot for them.
Yeah, I will do the cereal grains, and I let that grow, and that grows it'll get woody if you let it grow too high. A lot of people use it for the soft edge. Chris and I were just talking about that last week, about maybe I'm going to start using the rye as a soft edge instead of the miscanthus grasses and all this great Egyptian wheat and all that. I may just try to go around our food plot on the edge of it and put rye in, 8 or 10 foot of rye, and just let it grow and don't touch it. Just let it get 4 foot high for that soft edge.
Yeah.
But we cut the rye, we open up 50 yards of a new plot, an extension off of our plot. We till it. Well, we kill it with the gly. We till it, then we lime it, and then we put the rye in, and we let it grow. And then we cut it like grass, just that part of the food plot. We cut it like grass all year. We just let it get high, cut it down 4 or 5 inches high. All that.
Just like your lawn.
Grass, just like your lawn. Let it get in there. And then the second year, we will kill it. We will plant it. I would like to do the 2-3 year thing, but to me, I want it now. You know what I mean? I want it now.
And everybody does.
Yeah.
But just know that first couple of years, you're going to be battling with the weeds to try to get ahead of them.
Yeah.
And that's literally what that, like the boy said, that whole cover crop is literally just to choke them weeds right out and get rid of them. That's the thought behind it anyway.
Yep.
And then that third year, you're not battling those weeds so hard. You'll still get them, but it won't be like, oh my God, these things are like wanting to take over my plot.
Yep, for sure. All right, so we got into the when you were gone, we have the turnips and we had the beets. That's pretty self-explanatory, Shawn. Yep. That's why I did them while you were off of there. Whoops, I did something wrong here. But the next one we're getting into is the Triple X, the Woodland Forage Plus mix. And that is, I believe, is that a non-tillable or no? Is that
no? What that is that's more of a something that don't get a lot of daylight, sunshine every day. That double and the triple will grow in. You need like 4 to 6 hours, and it can even be filtered a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But and the peas. That has the peas, the radishes, the ryegrass, the rapeseed, and the clover. So that's
that Triple X. And let me tell you what, I don't know if you remember when I posted pictures there from the farm that we grew it this year. The problem with that mix that I didn't like, and Chris, maybe you can help me out, but the boy was like, "There's really not much you can do." The problem is, you're growing grass seed and you're growing broadleaf together. So. Yeah, I can spray it with this and it'll kill all the grass, but guess what? It's going to kill all your ryegrass that's in there. Or we can go the other way and use the broadleaf, and we can kill all the broadleaf, but then you're going to kill off all your peas, you're going to kill off all your turnips, radishes, whatever, those broadleaf. So that's the only thing I don't like about that mix. But let me tell you what, even with that grass mixed in it, oh my goodness. Now I will say the rye got choked out pretty good. That does not. And I planted heavy too. We planted heavy. So if you're spread out on a quarter acre, it'd probably do a little bit better. and let some of that ryegrass come up a little bit better. But we seeded heavily.
Yeah, I would I would say I would want the ryegrass to get out. I would want the peas, radishes, the rape, and the clover to come up and overtake that eventually.
And they did, and especially the peas. Let me tell you what. Oh my God. In they're like those, what do they call them? Give me a couple names on ice or something, freaking peas. Those plants got like 4 foot tall. Really? And they were just covered in peas. Now, if you've got it out where deer are getting into them, they'll never get that tall because the deer will be hammering them.
Yeah, they hammer them down our place.
Yeah, we were on the part of the farm that's right up by the houses and right up all around all the activities. So deer weren't really, they didn't mess with it. But if you wanted it like that, it'd be something you'd want to fence off and keep the deer out of.
Yeah,
but
let it grow
and let it get up there. But I'll tell you what, those I want to say glacier peas or some.
Chris, what's the name? Come on, buddy. I know you know it.
I don't know because I don't grow peas because I can't here.
I can't either.
They're like sunflowers to me. As soon as they come out of the ground, the deer chomp them off. I never get a chance to grow them. So that's
and I'll tell you, and I can see why, because they got big old pods on them. I mean, they were big pods, and they were just hammering. And so and then the I think what we have in that mix too, that's got, what's that triple X all got in it there, Ted? I think is it radish? We had radish plants. They did very well. Everything did good except the ryegrass. The ryegrass got choked out by everything else. Yeah. So that seed mix, actually, we've been kind of contemplating maybe changing up a little bit. But it is a good mix. It does very well. And like I said, if you don't have a lot of deer, it'll get a chance to grow. If you've got a lot of deer in your area, that's one of those that you'd want to probably fence off to try to keep the deer out of and let it get a good head start, before you open it up and let the deer into it.
Did you see on the screen, Dawn said it's great in poor soil areas. In poor soil conditions.
That's what our double and triple X is. It's good in that low sunlight hours, and it's good in poor soils. So you get, like I said, like you said, rye will grow in the back end in the back of your truck, if there's even wood chips back there,
Yeah.
So that's what that blend is kind of designed to grow better in that rougher soil, either maybe even a little bit too wet or maybe a little bit too dry. Either or, just that rougher, tougher soil that's hard to get to grow stuff in. Our double and our triple X will fare well in that kind of soil.
Yep.
Yeah. If you was looking for a good substitute for ryegrass, I would just put in like a winter wheat or even a rape or something in there to help spread out and fill in.
You can even hit it with the plants. Or that dwarf Essex rape that I use. That's a good little filler too. That has some nutrition value. Big Chris, I like that wheat. I don't use wheat in mine.
I do. He likes that. I love winter wheat over winter rye because winter wheat's a little sweeter and they like that. Yep. They will walk through winter rye to go eat winter wheat.
Yep.
We've tested that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. When you see that, you're like, oh, now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know.
They'll eat the crap out of winter rye, when they need it, or if there's nothing else around, but if you've got winter wheat next to winter rye, they'll walk right through that rye.
Yep.
And we even planted the winter rye on the edge of the field on purpose to be like the buffer zone, the pre-staging area. Yep. And they didn't even stop. They didn't even put their head down. They walked straight through it and went out to the winter wheat and just smorgasbord on that. So I mean, if you was looking for a good substitute, that would be the one I would suggest.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried growing wheat in my area and stuff, and it just the rye grows anywhere for me. That's why I put it. It's easier for me because we got timing issues and all that. We know the rye grows, so we put it out. But yeah, if I could grow the wheat, it would be the wheat for sure. Yeah, it would be the wheat for sure. But on my thing, they walk into that. We fertilize, Chris, for sure. Lime and fertilize. He asked if we limed and we fertilized, but we do both for sure.
Do the soil test and amend the soil.
Yeah, that's the number one thing. Before you do anything, get a soil test. See where you're at.
Yeah, if you don't do that, you're
wasting
You're throwing
money.
money down the you're flushing money down the toilet.
now. Don't get me wrong. We've planted, and we've had success without the soil test. But I don't recommend the soil. You have to do that. You just can't. I've winged it before and done it.
I'm
gonna
gonna
have time, but you
let
have
me
to do.
let me
soil
tell you a
test.
good example. I was just down at Harrisburg, and I sat in the booth for the company that I represent. And I was in the booth, and a guy come up and he picked one of the jugs, and he said, I planted this last year and it did not grow. I said, first thing I asked him, did you soil test? No. I said, did you have a drought like everybody else did last year? Yes. I said,
There you go.
I said, it's not the seed then, bud.
Yep.
And it's not even necessarily what you did either, but you could have helped yourself by sampling and having moisture. So I said, you can't blame the seed. Sorry.
Nope.
He just turned around and walked away. He didn't even argue. He just gone.
Yeah, because there's no argument. I mean, it's like, what do you want? You're getting double whammied on that seed to begin with. And I've said this, and I'm gonna tell you what, we get the seed, our seed that we get through one of the top in the Midwest seed suppliers for like some big name stuff. So, they're good. But like you said, you don't test that soil, you don't know where you're at, your pH is sitting at a 3, and you're trying to grow something that needs a 6 to a 7 to even think about growing.
Yep.
And then you don't get any rain on top of that. I mean, you're literally guaranteeing that seed is not going to grow. I don't care what you do. It's just not going to grow.
See,
well, I have
the company, the one company I deal with there, they have some alfalfa, and you need high pH for alfalfa. You need between a 6, 7, and a 7.
Yep.
And then your other stuff.
A lot of these guys are coming in at 5, 5, 6 or something like that. And well, I didn't see any alfalfa. Well, that's because you just wasted it.
Right.
You're not going to grow it. You can't expect it to grow if you don't have the pH to do it.
I mean, short of you standing out there with a sprayer with Miracle Grow, freaking hammering your plot all season long, it's not going to grow.
Right. No, Chris, we're talking about a real soil test you get from your local seed mill or
Penn State or something like
that.
You
can go to Tractor Supply even and probably pick up a Whitetail Institute test or something like that. It's going to cost you about $11. You're going to dig some soil up from a couple of different spots in your plot, go down about 4 inches. You're going to put it in a bucket. You're going to mix it up. You're going to put it in a baggie that they supply up to the line they tell you to do. And you put it in the mail and send it away, and they're going to send you back an emailed test telling you exactly what you need per acre to make your plot come back and be correct. So when you get those results back, it's going to tell you need this much lime per acre, you need this much fertilizer to be able to have something grow correctly.
Yeah, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a video on the soil test. Chris, I'm sure you're going to do a video.
It's going to cost you $20 top, and it's the best insurance you can have because it's even cheaper than a bag of lime.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the lime, but it's cheaper than the fertilizer bag.
Right. Right. Yep.
People are out there throwing fertilizer and don't even know if they need it.
No, but like you said too, Chris, it's like it's a no-brainer because they tell you exactly what you need. So if they're going to give it back to you per acre, and you're like, well, I'm only doing a quarter acre, then divide it by 4. That's literally.
Well, the thing is too, is it all comes down to, it's a recipe for, if you're cooking, you're making a meal and you have a recipe, there's a reason for the recipe, correct? But that's the same way with a food plot. You need the recipe, and first main ingredient is the soil test.
Yep.
If I was to say, if anybody does not do a soil test, then buy a bag of cereal rye and throw it in the ground, and you'll have some green. Okay, because that will grow anywhere. If you don't want to do the soil test, I recommend you do the soil test. But if you don't, if this is for the people that want a quick and hopefully it works, it's going to be rye grain. That's what it's going to be.
I mean, if you don't want to do the work, get some clover or rye, throw it down. And even at that, you're not optimal. You're still wasting some money, but you're going to get some green.
Well, the thing is,
it doesn't make sense. If you're going to do it, just do it right.
Yeah, and here's
you're going to be texting me later, and you're going to be like, "Hey, this ain't working out. Why?" Then you're going to start
All right, you want to blame me because it didn't grow. It's like,
Well,
well,
your
hold on,
seed,
dude.
yeah, your
You
seed
didn't even
stinks.
do what needed to be done to get this to
Exactly.
grow.
Well, that's
Exactly.
a thing that you got to stress to the customers too. You know, when even when you're selling your seed, is hey, did you prep the soil correctly for the seed to grow? If you didn't do that, there's no warranty on it. You're taking a chance, a big
Oh, right,
risk.
because I don't care whose seed you're buying. I
No,
do
it could
not care whose seed you're buying. You can buy the #1 name brands in what
you can
we
have
call
seed
the #1 name brands
inoculated.
in the industry. And if that soil test isn't done, your soil's all out of whack, you're not getting any rain, it's not growing. It's not Jinx'Em food plot seed that's junk. It's
Yeah.
not, I'll even throw out whatever. It's not Domain's seed that's junk. It's not Whitetail Institute's seed that's junk. It's you're not doing what you need to do to get that seed to grow. I mean,
Exactly.
if you're buying from anybody that has a reputable seed company, that seed is going to grow, period. If you do everything correctly. But if you don't, then don't come whining to me, because you might go buy Whitetail Institute seed next year, and guess what? It's going to do the same thing for you that my stuff did, because you didn't do what needed to be done to help it to grow.
100%. That's in stone right there. The soil in stone. Now, another thing though, if you don't do that, okay, and Chris is 100% on board with this, I know. Okay, you're wasting your money down the road as well, because if your pH isn't correct, there is a formula, Chris, right? And if I want to go get 10-10-10 fertilizer and my pH isn't correct and I throw that 10-10 fertilizer on there, there's only a percentage of that fertilizer that's going to be used by that plant. It can't be used by the plant because your pH isn't correct. So if you're at a 5.0, you may be using 50% of that bag of fertilizer. So you spent $10 on that bag, you're only going to be using $5 worth of that. So your money is getting wasted down the line if you don't prep your soil at the beginning the way you should to utilize all of that, because you just don't go, okay, my pH is unbalanced, I'm going to throw all this fertilizer at that and it's going to help it. The plant will not take that fertilizer in if your pH is out of balance. So, Chris, you might be able to even add a little bit of that to it, but that's basic what it is. If you're going to buy a $10, 100% fertilizer, you're only going to be able to use 50% of it. So you wasted half your money on that one bag. And you don't buy one bag. We're buying 15, 20 pallets full of fertilizer to put on our food plots. So you're spending $400 on a fertilizer when you're only using $200 of it. So you took $200 and just ripped it up and threw it away.
Yep.
So you're losing it down the line if you don't prep your soil at the beginning correctly. And that's just the way it is. And Chris,
not to mention, the more fertilizer you're adding, there's so many fillers in that and salts and things
that you're adding to the fuel.
It's actually lowering your pH as you're adding fertilizer.
Yeah, salt is not good for your soil.
Well, explain that a little bit more, Chris, because this is something that when you first told me about it, it was kind of something I had to think about a little bit. Like, wow, I didn't realize that. With the whole idea that if they say, well, you need 100 pounds of this per acre, wasn't there like something, but when you got it, it actually was like only 80% of that or something like that. So it's like, or 50% of it was actually what you needed that was per acre. I think you know what I'm talking about. So you're like, okay, instead of 100 pounds, you needed 200 pounds.
So what it is whatever the number is on the bag, if it's 10, 10, 10, your recommendations are based on 100 pounds of fertilizer. So your fertilizer bags only come in 50-pound bags. So you need 2 bags of 10, 10, 10 to get 10 pounds of N, 10 pounds of P, and 10 pounds of K. If you're only buying 1 bag of 10, 10, 10, you're really only getting 5, 5, 5.
Yeah, because it's the percentage of the mineral that's in there.
So when someone says you need 100 pounds of 10, 10, 10, you don't
buy 2 50-pound bags.
No.
You have to buy 4 50-pound bags.
Yeah, you need 200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's where people.
So you have to do a little bit of math, and that's where people get messed up. And then you'll hear people say, "Well, it recommended 2,000 pounds of lime. And I was told that you could use 850 pounds of Pell lime that's equal to 2,000 pounds of ag lime. That's a lie. Don't listen to something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Lime is lime, pound for pound.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 1,000 pounds of ag lime, you need 1,000 pounds of pelletized lime. All pelletized lime is they've smashed it into a little pellet.
Pellet.
And it's the same thing, pound for pound. You need.
Right.
Don't let them tell
It's
you
ag
you
lime.
can use.
It's ag lime in a pelletized form, but it's still the
all it
same.
is. That's all it is. It's the same.
Well,
So don't let them tell you can use less Pell lime, and get away with using less. Because see, what the industry is great at is telling you shortcuts.
mm-hmm.
But you know what shortcuts do? They shortcut your results too. So
they put it to you.
yeah. And
Well,
then they're going to be blaming the seed, or they're going to be blaming this and that. When if they would just do the test and do what it's telling you to do, add in what you need.
Here's a question I get all the time, Chris. Does pelletized lime take longer than ag lime to go into the soil?
Well, first of all, you can till both of them in.
Yep.
And get them into the soil quicker. But the pellet lime is crushed down into a pellet, so it takes a little bit more moisture to break it down. I mean, just think of like when dog food gets wet, and it gets mushy after a little while, or your cereal with milk on it and it gets mushy. It's the same thing with the pellet lime. It takes so much moisture to break that down and then be able to leach out and spread out.
It isn't really the lime going into the soil. It's breaking down the product to go into the soil.
Yes.
Like the lime takes the same. If you have powdered ag lime and you have pelletized lime, if you take the pelletized out of it and have lime and lime, it's going to go into the soil at the same time. It's just going to break down. The product needs to break down to go into the soil. This product is already broken down for you, but it still takes the same amount of time to go into the soil. Lime does.
It does.
And you do get a lot of inert ingredients in your fertilizer, and that's what Chris City Sticker's talking about. Indiana Chris is they put a lot of there's salt, sulfur, and stuff that go into the ground that actually hurt your pH. So that's why you do your soil tests every year, because you're hurting your soil when you're not hurting the soil, but you're diminishing the soil with the micros when you put your fertilizer in because of the inert ingredients. So you got to check that to replenish the micros in your soil.
Your macros, actually.
Yeah.
Your macros.
Now the micro.
NP&K. Your macros are your boron and,
Yes. And then they're saying when you till ground, you're killing the first top 3 inches of the best soil you have. You're killing all the worms. You're killing all the bacteria that's in there, the good stuff. So now companies are saying that, and they're selling that nutrient to put back in the ground. I've seen farmers doing it for years. They till up their ground
I was just gonna say,
the time, and it's
been around since Bible days.
Since cavemen. Yeah. I mean, it's
Bible days. What did they do?
So easy a caveman can do it.
Yeah, they all plow. And I don't believe all that.
I don't either.
I mean, you can go back a couple of days after someone runs a tiller through it and dig down, and you'll still find earthworms and stuff. You might kill a couple from contact of the tines, but they want you to believe that you're killing all the microbes. Now,
the first 3 inches.
I will say, if you have bare dirt all summer and it's hot and it's drought
baking it out of it,
you are hurting your soil. But if you're just doing this a week before you're going to plant, you're not hurting nothing, because it's gonna sprout in a couple of days, and you're gonna have green back in it, and it's gonna hold moisture again and
start straightening it out.
Yeah, it's all gimmicks. You gotta look through all the gimmicks of all this stuff that they're coming out.
That's the new craze, though. Everybody says, "Oh, you're damaging your soil when you plow, or even this now." So, but me doing this seed, I'm plowing a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, or I'm not even plowing anymore. I do that the initial breakup, but then they say you're messing with the crust of the soil where all your nutrients goes away. If you're plowing 1 or 2 inches up to break it up and then you disc it, you're not hurting much. And I just think that that's a selling point for all these micro and macro nutrients that you got to add back to the soil if you plow. That's like the craze right now. And there's even like people on TV, these big companies are saying that.
All
I've seen
about the
these.
money. All about
It's
the
all,
money.
it's all
Well,
about the
they're
money.
trying to
Something
sell
else we can
no-till.
sell you.
You're
Mhm.
trying to sell no-till.
They are.
And
They are.
and right now it's
There.
food plot shaming if you plow now. If you plow or if you disc or if you cultivate anything, now you are shamed by the food plot industry.
Yes, that's exactly what it's doing. It's
You know
making
what?
bad.
They can kiss my white butt because I mean, like I said, it's been around since the Bible days, and
Yep.
that's what real farmers do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. They've been
these are
growing
the
it
people.
since
These are the people that run the world.
they
Food.
supply our food for the world,
Yep,
and they
they
plow
supply our-
everything up.
And guess what? They use chemicals. Sorry to
You
break your
you
little
have to.
snowflake
You have
heart.
to.
Yep. Sorry to break your snowflake heart, but they use chemicals.
Yep.
And you know, they might not be good for us in the long run, but it makes the food and it keeps the weeds. Let's just think about it. If they had the weed propagation that us food plotters do and didn't use chemicals,
Mhm.
there wouldn't be enough food to feed the world.
No.
Because half of the food would be eaten up by weed. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? It would
And the
And
hurt
if
other
they
half
crop.
by bugs.
Then when
Yeah, yeah.
then when they don't use the chemical, you pay for that too.
Right. That's in your role into herbicides, pesticides.
Yeah.
It's all you got to use them both, and they all do. My boy tries to use as little as possible, but like he says, there's
have
no
to.
way around it. You have to.
Mhm.
You know, he grows
Sure.
strawberries.
Yep.
He's got. I can't even remember what this disease he gets in it, and it gets white
Blight.
spot, whatever, freaking growing all over strawberry plants, and he's
Might
like,
be blight.
yeah, it's like blight. It's like I have to spray that. I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all my strawberry plants die. I mean,
No,
there's just no way around it. I mean, people want fresh. You know what? And I do the best I can. But in order to keep those berry plants alive, I got to spray them. Period.
You know how I got rid of blight on my tomato plants, Chris?
Well, my wife used to sprinkle lime on them, or she had a copper spray that she bought.
Okay. Well, what I did was I had calcium chloride salt that we put on the ground to get rid of ice and snow. We had bags of the flake. So what I would do is I would take 2 teaspoons of the flake, put it in a spray bottle in water, shake it up, let it melt, and you spray on the leaves, and it got rid of blight within a week.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell the wife maybe she should
try that. The calcium chloride from the salt, not
Oh
salt.
no, we got to
salt,
use all those
flake.
harmful chemicals, man. What are you talking about?
Well,
Yeah,
some of it is. Some of it is. I mean,
It is.
I mean, they claim that what is it? 2,4-D is the same thing as the napalm from Vietnam. It's only missing one more chemical or something like that.
Well, yeah, I saw a deer last year glowing in the dark when I was coming out of the woods.
Now,
Yeah,
I saw a 3-headed, 8-legged.
that's why these bucks are getting so big with all these chemicals.
Right,
you know?
right.
What do we feed?
They're hanging around the nuclear power plants.
What are we feeding the chickens? You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I mean, with all this genetically engineered stuff,
everything
is now. I think Ted, you asked it. I think Ted, you asked me on my last video. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I'm related to Milo Hansen, believe it or not.
I said
I don't know if you've seen my video.
I said the only thing related with you and Milo Hansen is all your deer combined might have got his score of his deer.
That's not nice. Not nice.
Oh,
but it ends up that I have relatives in Canada.
Milo. He's Silo. That's Silo Hansen right there on the screen.
Silo
and
it's
Milo.
On Solo. But yeah, I've got Worthing relatives in Canada, and they had a cousin named Ted, or an uncle named Ted. I don't even know, because I don't know the people. I'm just Facebook friends with them, because that's what Facebook does. You can reach out and find people.
Maybe we're cousins, Chris.
They found me, and they were telling me I was related to Milo Hansen. Well, we checked into this a little further, and it does end up that I had an uncle or a cousin, whatever he is to me, Ted Worthing up there. His wife had a sister that married Milo Hansen. So
not that far out, really.
No, it's not that far out. So he was a cousin-in-law. He would be my cousin-in-law on like the third level.
He's my sister's
like a
brother's
third cousin.
aunt's, uncle's, nephew's, grandson's,
Exactly.
daughter's baby.
Exactly. But they was telling me, you're related to Milo
Chris.
Hansen, right? And I'm like, I had
We'll
no clue. Had no clue.
That's cool.
But
That's pretty cool news, though.
It was a neat little story.
Now all you need to do is kill a buck like that.
That's what I said.
Well, they keep
gotta have some kind of gene in you that gets big bucks, right?
Two cousins hammering the big boys.
they keep inviting me up, but I tell them, I'm not fighting the border patrol to get up there with with a gun and stuff and
take your bow.
All that crap. I don't have a real ID or a what's that called?
Passport.
I don't have all that crap.
I'm getting my passport because I might be going up to Canada this spring. I'm like, dang, I need to get a passport. I used to have one, but that was in like 99 and they're only good for 10 years. So I'm a little bit over. I need a new one.
Well, see, Chris, you do have a gene in you that you can shoot a big buck, right? There is a gene.
It's probably just one molecule, though. I mean, it's not working. It's not working.
But anyway, so let's keep going because that steak, them steak rolls come out of here. So I'm starting to look at them. So we got the double X woodland mix. That is the
double and triple. Same as the triple, only minus the radish in the peas.
Yep. So same thing on that. So that's a good mix there. Then we got now this is the one that I wanted to talk about a little bit. And then there's another one that I really want to talk about. The next one is the seclusion, the sorghum Sudan grass. So go ahead. I'm thinking about getting some of this for down camp this year.
Some people call it Egyptian wheat, whatever, it is a sorghum. On the demo plot we did on the farm this last year, it got 15 feet tall. It's a good screen. If you got road frontage and you don't want people looking into your field that's right by the road, this is a good one. Plant a 5-10 foot wide swath of this, and nobody will be seeing into your food plot. Probably don't even need to be 10 foot. Probably get away with 5 foot. Just a good wall, I guess. Seclusion. That's kind of the name behind it. It blocks in everything that you're wanting to block and that you don't want people seeing in. Some guys will put it around their food plots. Some guys will put it along the wood line where they've got a tree stand where they have trouble getting into a blind or a stand because they're exposed to their food plot walking along the edge of the woods and there's already deer in there. Mm-hmm. I can slip in behind that line of that seclusion and allows me to get into my tree stand undetected.
What do you recommend? Like how wide of that? Like now I know there's no food value with the deer with that, correct? Maybe when it's younger, something they might, but there's no really food value. Actually,
sorghum and the seeds on that is poisonous to deer if they eat too much of it. It's not good for them. Okay. The seed pods. That seed pods is that's more of your upland game birds will eat on that. Birds, upland game, stuff like that. So it's not really a big pull for the deer.
So it's basically for like a sanctuary or like cover, like to walk into. How big of a patch should you like? If I wanted to build if my entrance and my exit to my stand, what do you recommend? And like, how wide should I be planning it? Like a pass on the tiller, like a 4-foot section of it can be enough to give you a cover, or do you need to make it wider?
4 foot would probably do pretty good, but of course, the more the better. The wider that it is, the more cover that you're going to get. I'm one of those guys that plan it. Probably do a 6 foot, maybe wide, and then if I cut a path into it, I'm going to do like a corn maze path to it. So that once the deer are inside there, they don't have a direct swath that opens it right up. And we've got a big opening right there that people from outside can see in and I can see out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that zigzag or like I said, like a corn maze kind of design to build them a runway. Because a lot of times it gets so big and it gets so tall that they're not going to plow through it and break. They will, I guess, if they needed to. If there's a food plot on the inside of it to get to that feed, of course they will.
So you're creating an edge, basically, like
but deer are lazy, that. So you make them a nice zigzag or like I said, the corn maze design to bring them into that then once they're inside of it, they're completely enclosed. They're nobody can see from outside in, and it's just more of a security blanket for them to make them feel a little bit more comfortable in there, that they've got this big blockade around them. I feel safe, because nobody can see me. Now, the second you pop out of that little deal, they're going to freak out and take off. But right. But if you're up over top of it, that's kind of what I look at. I'm going to have a stand that's actually going to be able to see over top of that into that food plot. So those deer are going to be coming in where I've cut my little corn maze designs to let them come into it. And then then that's it. Once they're inside there, I can see them from my stand.
Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up some of that for my.
And I know you brought up miscanthus grass too, and my boy is growing miscanthus grass. So if you guys are interested, or anybody out there in Facebook land or YouTube land where we're at, miscanthus grass, get a hold of me at Jinx'Em Scents, and my boy's got a whole ton of it, and we'll be selling some of that here this spring. So if anybody's interested in that stuff, same thing. It grows year round. It dies off and it grows back the next year. So it's not a perennial. It's not just going to pop up, grow, and die, and then next spring you got to plant again. This literally, it's not invasive, but it will get wider as it goes. But it is easily controllable without letting it get too wide. You can control that by simply mowing close up and around it and keeping it tight where you want it.
Very cool. Well, speaking of new products, Shawn, we are going to be having a new product here at Jinx'Em Scents, and I had something to do with it. You
did.
So we are I'm going to just name it. It's the Off the Hook blend, the new seed food plot mix. It is a fall blend. It's late summer planting. I recommend planting mid to late August. It is a kale, dwarf Essex rape, turnip, and radish mix. I'm really excited. Shawn and Dawn gave me the opportunity to come up with a mix for them, and that mix has been tested for 2 years. It works really well. It's a great attractant. If you've seen my videos, you've seen the food plots the last 2 years up there. That's been the mix that we've been working on, and the deer have been hammering the food plot in my dad's area. My son had multiple opportunities at bucks. I've taken a buck out of it this year, late season. So it works. I was a little nervous last year when we had the drought, but my dad did save the plot. So Shawn, do you want to explain what's going to be happening over at Jinx'Em and when it's going to be available, and when can the people get the Off the Hook blend?
Yep. So like Ted told you what's in it. It is a late season plant, late August, mid to late August plant. We are in the process of getting labels done. So we're probably a couple weeks out on having labels in our hand. The product will be available here, I'm going to guess, probably within the next 3 weeks, probably 4 weeks at tops. So you can get it. Again, it's something that you're not going to want to plant until a little bit later in the summer. We should be set up with that here within the next month. So
very excited about that. I wanted to thank you and Dawn for giving me that opportunity to come up with that, and I really appreciate that.
It was good. You come up with a blend that you wanted, and I told Dawn, I was like, you know what, this might be something we may want to introduce. So we'll let Ted test it and see how it goes, and show everybody how it did and what it does, and it did well for you, even with that drought. So thanks to Pops for keeping her watered up. That's good. And that's it. So no, we're excited about it. I think people are going to like it, and like I said, be looking at that probably within the next month. And don't quote me, I guess, because Dawn, if Dawn was here, she'd probably tell me something different.
Oh yeah, she knows. Yeah,
I'm going to say 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
this will be available.
I'll wait for Dawn's email, Shawn. I'll wait for Dawn's email.
And there's no hurry. And there's no hurry on it, because it's not anything you want to plant right now, or even a spring plant. It is a mid to late August plant, and so believe me, we will have her all ready and set and ready to rock and roll. And once it is available, we'll have it available for you. So, and a lot of guys are like, well, I want you to wait and buy that seed, not until, wait till the late summer to buy that seed then. before, you guys do your deal, because I want the freshest I can get. Doesn't work that way. The seed I buy right now is going to be the same seed that I buy if I wait and buy it in July and August. So there's going to be no difference. It's the seed that was grown last year that was harvested for the purpose of supplying seed companies with plantable seed. So that's going to come out here this year in the spring. It's already coming out. That's all from last year. I mean, just how it works.
Yeah.
So just know that, don't think that, well, God, if you sell me that seed now, you guys are kind of ripping me off because you're selling me seed that's going to be old by time out. No, it's not. It's you might have to let it set in a cool, I will say that, store it when you get it in a cool, dark area. Don't leave it in the sun. Don't, whatever, store it in a cool, dark area. And come this mid-August, late August, it will be golden. And all you need to do is get your soil tested, see where you're at there, and work that soil up and broadcast it over top of your soil and cross your fingers for rain.
Yeah, no, I do want to get Chris's take on that mix as well, but I do want to mention too that you guys do go above and beyond with your packaging, like all your products and stuff that come to us. You guys spend the time, and you have like the best packaging that I've seen for like your seed, your minerals, and stuff like that. And the way you pack all your products is pretty top notch. That seed important. Is in the best packaging you can get. That's
important to us. It really is. And honestly, bottom line, I want the way that we deliver our stuff to everybody is the way that I would expect that it gets delivered to me if I was ordering that product from some other company.
For sure.
And, I want to open up and go, man, nice. Yep. Nicely done. Nice packaging. Nice. They put bubble wrap. They, with our urines, they put in a gel pack. They wrapped it in bubble wrap and buried it in insulated peanuts and, the whole nine. They're kind of like doing vacuum sealing. They're doing everything that needs to be done to make sure that product gets to me in the best possible shape that it can be in. And that's what we do. I mean, that's just, we're both anal people. So we treat our stuff anal when we ship it out to everybody too.
Yep. No, that's awesome. All right, Chris, give me your take on that mix. What do you think about that? I mean, you've seen it in action with the videos and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's going to be a mix that's usable. I mean, it makes sense. You and I talked about it before you submitted it. And, we said it's going to be a fail-safe mix pretty much. As long as you have a soil test and you have moisture, people are going to be successful with it. And I thought it was cool that they gave you that opportunity. So I hope that it works out for everybody involved.
You're going to
I hope we get some rain this year. I hope we get some rain this year, Ted, because I think that would, if that got good rain this last year, I think we'd have been like going, oh my God, look at that plot. That thing is just, that's Mother Nature. She kind of controls it all. But again, I'm the guy, and like I said, your dad got out and watered. I'm that guy. I'm buying a water system of some sorts. I'm getting water to my food plot.
Yeah, that's what he did for sure.
If Chris I've got a 2-acre plot and I can't, there's not enough time and I can't water the whole 2 acres, you can guarantee I'm going to try to water as much of that 2 acres as I can.
Yep.
I might end in the end like, oh, you know what? Only a ½ acre survived out of my whole 2 acres. But guess what? If I wouldn't have watered, it would have been all 2 acres been gone.
Man. Yeah. My wife's sitting there eating steak rolls right in front of me.
Nice.
Can you believe that? Dipping it in A1 steak
sauce.
Yeah,
we're at 2 hours. So
yeah, we're going to be going. But I do want to mention, Chris,
I gotta get to bed.
If you buy, you got to be the first customer to buy my blend. And I bet you shoot a big buck off it this year.
Oh, now
we'll give you the staff discount.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, make Teddy buy it and then give it to me.
Yeah, that's the staff discount. That's perfect. All right, guys. Well, we are going to end it, guys. Once again, I appreciate both you two, my favorite guests on my channel here. I really enjoy talking to you guys. You guys are a book of knowledge. Chris, thank you for being here, buddy. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Shawn, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Good to see both of you guys too.
Yeah, sure. And like I said, guys, go over, check out Jinx'Em on Facebook. They're on Jinx'Em Nation on YouTube as well. Go check their website out. They have stuff. They have a bunch of stuff. They have harvest blends. They have scents. They have everything from field to table. So go over and check them out. If you want to use my code, it's in the description of my videos, and check them out. And like I said, Dawn, I know you're here listening too. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity. If you guys are not familiar with Jinx'Em Scent, go over, check them out. They're great people, family-run business, great products, top-notch service, customer service, and I'm glad to be a part of the team. So thank you guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and we will be in touch soon.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
All right, everybody.
guys. Take care, everybody. See ya.